All right, good morning, Noel, of course. And I'm reading John 12 today. So, yeah, I'm just going to jump into there, and here we go. All right, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus arrived at Bethany, where Lazarus lives, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Here, a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Martha served, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. Then Mary took out a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume. Uh, she poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected. Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. He did not say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As keeper of the money bag, he used to he used to help himself to what was put in it. Leave her alone, Jesus replied. It was intended that she should have, or she should save this perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me. Meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews found out that Jesus was there and came, not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus as well. That guy's nuts. For on account of him, many Jews were going over to Jesus and putting their faith in him. The next day, the crowd, or the next day, the great crowd that had come for the feast heard that Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem. They took palm branches, went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel. Jesus found a young donkey and sat upon it, as it is written, Do not be afraid, O daughter of Zion. See, your king is coming, seated on a donkey's colt. At first, his disciples did not understand all of this. Only after Jesus was glorified did they realize that these things had been written about him and that they had done these things to him. Now, the crowd that was with him when he called Lazarus from the tomb and raised him from the dead continued to spread the word. Many people, because they had heard that he had given this miracle, or sorry, many people, because they had heard that he had given this miraculous sign, went out to meet him. So the Pharisees said to one another, "See, this is getting us nowhere. Look how the whole world has gone after him." And just to keep in mind, that's the Jewish leaders. Now there was some Greeks among those who went up to worship at the feast. They came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, with a request. "Sir," they said, "we would like to see Jesus." Philip went to tell Andrew. Andrew and Philip, in turn, told Jesus. Jesus replied, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. The man who loves his life will lose it, while the man who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Whoever saves me or serves me must follow me, and where I am, my servant also will be. My Father will honor the one who serves me. Now my heart is troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was for this very reason I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came from heaven. "I have glorified it, and will glorify it again." The crowd that was there heard it and said it had thundered. Others said an angel had spoken to him. Jesus said, "This voice was for your benefit, not mine. Now it is time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out. But I, when I when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to myself." He said this to show the kind of death he was going to die. The crowd spoke up. "We have heard from the law that the Christ will remain forever. So how can you say the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man?" Then Jesus told them, "You're going to have the light just a little while longer. Walk while you have the light, before darkness overtakes you. The man who walks in the dark does not know where he's going. Put your trust in the light while you have it, so that you may become sons of the light." When he had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid himself from them. Even after Jesus had done all these miraculous signs in their presence, they still would not believe in him. This was to fulfill the word of Isaiah the prophet. "Lord, who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed?" For this reason, they could not believe, because, as Isaiah said elsewhere, He has blinded their eyes and deadened their hearts, so they can neither see with their eyes nor understand with their hearts, nor turn, and I would heal them. Isaiah said this because he saw Jesus' glory, and spoke about him. Yet at the same time, many among the leaders believed in him. But because the Pharisees, they would not confess their faith for fear that they would be put out of the synagogue. For they loved uh, praise from men more than praise from God. Then Jesus cried out, "When a man believes in me, he does not believe in me only, but in the one who sent me. When he looks at me, he sees the one who sent me. I have come into the world as a light, so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness. As for the person who hears my words but does not keep them, I do not judge him, for I did not come to judge the world, but to save it. There is a judge for the one who rejects me and does not accept my words. That uh, very word which I spoke will condemn him at the last day. For I did not speak of my own accord, and my Father who sent me commanded me what to say and how to say it. I know that his command leads to eternal life. I know that, oh, sorry. So whatever I say is just what the Father has told me to say. Man, uh, gosh, there's a lot that could be discussed from that one. Um, you know, it's so frustrating to me that um, Jesus spends so much of his time, having to interact and deal with these, Pharisees and teachers of the law and all that. You know, like just so much time, and I don't know. It's like we still lack teaching that, and talking about it and everything um, in our churches today. It's like, well, 42. Yeah, at the same time, many, even among the leaders, believed in him, but because the Pharisees, they wouldn't confess their faith for fear that they would be put out of the synagogue. They love praise from men more than God. Like, that's a big deal, you know. And not that, just like Jesus is saying, not that we're here to judge that in others or whatever, but I think as church, you know, trying to live more like Jesus than the Pharisees here, or than the leaders that he's talking about that believed but wouldn't confess him because they were afraid, or they wanted the praise from men. Um, like it's just stuff that should be taught in church. You know what I mean? Like it's just stuff that should be taught. I mean, really, like all of this should be thoroughly taught. Um, you know, yeah. There's so much, and then another interesting thing in 12 and I don't know, a few verses after that, where it talks about Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And the crowd is shouting Hosanna. You know, they had branches, palm branches, and all that stuff, and everything. And like I'm sure, like most folks that go to church, uh, or have been to church, that's something that's done like the week before Easter. And the kids or whatever, they'll have their palm branches, all this mess. And I heard pastor not long ago, I think around last Easter, so um, not that long ago, but talk about um, before you break out your palm branches and start, shouting Hosanna like the people that talk about in John 12, you may want to remember that those are the same people that a week later were shouting crucify him. You know what I mean? That's how ignorant we are. It's like uh I don't know. I'm no psychologist, but kind of seems like mob mentality, you know, where the mob is going this way, you know, one week and you're, going with the mob, and the next week they change and now you're going to, murder somebody, I guess. It's just like, how do we not have the foresight to see this stuff? I don't understand. And we're not talking about just like, you know, one church or this or that. Like churches all over the place do this stuff. Do we lack that much wisdom? I don't, like, I mean, the whole time they're waving their palm branches and shouting Hosea. Well, Jesus knows that he's going there to be executed. You know what I mean? He knows that all these people are fixing to like, you know, basically vote to release an actual murderer and replace him with Jesus. Like we have no foresight. It's unbelievable. And like we're just joining the crowd. Like Hosanna, look at our palm branches. Like it's all fun. It's all super fun. Like something's wrong with us here. This is nuts. I should, yeah. I don't know. You can spend a lifetime in here reading and studying this stuff, the Bible and Jesus and everything, and still lack so much wisdom. Um, it's there's so much. So it's not like a condemnation thing. It's more like a you know implementing the wisdom you gain as you gain it. I think more than anything. But yeah, yeah, that was pretty good stuff. Um, that's John 12, and been a little hit and miss lately with Christmas time and everything, the end of 2025, and kids being out of school and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, gotta get back in the swing of things. So that's what we're doing, and yeah, well, that's all I got for today. So hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you later. All right.